You were only funny 1 week, and now you just think you're the king of comedy.
I'm the king. Bow down to the king.
Bow down. Bow down to her.
Wow, we got 5 minutes in, and there is a reference to that
I don't
movie.
even think 5 minutes.
See The Princess Bride?
Yeah, we should be getting some Rob Reiner money.
We'll settle for Carl Reiner money.
Carl Reiner. Jeez. I'd settle being that funny.
Welcome back to the Jack of the Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Eric VC, and as always, I'm joined by my favorite Dr. and Pepper, the VC boys. Say hello, Adam.
Pepper! I'll be the pepper.
Pepper!
As long as I'm freshly ground. I don't want any of that tasteless dust.
Guess that makes me the doctor, Dr. Dragon.
Say hello, Dave, Dr. Dragon.
Hello, Dave.
This is episode 36, covering The Shadow Rising, chapters 55 through 58. And along with ending the book, we will do a little book wrap-up. In this episode, we will review our story in A View from Dragonmount, and then discuss our favorite moments with the reading, with What Shook Your Willow. We'll get into a little land fear with Selene Stealer before getting back to Emmons Field and field prep, and then Slayer Cake. We'll move to the west in I Accept, and then head over the Dragon Wall to finish the chapters with I'll Care for the Living, Coplin of the Week, and Who Leveled Up.
I'll care there for you.
Wrapping up the book, we'll discuss our favorite parts and then finish with who we thought the winners and losers were. So let's drop from the talons of our unknown flying serpent and descend onto the lonely peak above Tarvalon for our view from Dragonmount.
Ooh, what a segue that was.
What a nice view it is.
It is nice.
Depending on where you look.
Depending on what you're viewing.
Right.
And hopefully you're not getting attacked by anything.
By the thing dropping stuff off on the
A
dragon.
bear.
And maybe bring some sandwiches.
So you have them.
And some chocolate milk.
Last episode, we read chapters 49 through 52 and witnessed the reemergence of Landfear in Rand's dreams right before he repels a Trolloc attack at Cold Rock's Hold, the flight of the Shaido to the north, and then the discovery of the Black Aja in the Panarch's palace. Say that 30 times fast. Nynaeve discovered the Terangrial she and Elaine were seeking using a trick taught by the Wise Ones, and also learned she had been hypnotized by Mogedion. Some dude delivered a message that a mysterious group was on its way to Emmons Field, and then Loyal and Gull returned to Emmons Field, reporting thousands of Trollocs in the two rivers. Perrin verified the information through the Wolf Dream and created a bogus mission for Fael to get her out of the bloodbath that was sure to ensue. Fael accepts the mission but forces Perrin to marry her as a fair exchange.
Is that
I
a
wasn't
fair
forcing.
exchange?
I was willing.
I don't know if that's a fair exchange.
The reading wrapped up with the entry of Nynaeve, Egianin, and Elaine into the Panarch's palace and the swift securing of the Panarch by Elaine. Nynaeve has a little bit more difficult time fighting Mogedion, but she eventually defeats the Forsaken, acquires the collar Terangrial, and that is where this episode's story begins. Chapter 55, Into the Deep. Nynaeve is fleeing from her fight with Mogedion and Jane Kaidi through the Panarch's palace. She meets the rest of the group with the Panarch. I'm running. They leave with Amathera.
That
Amathera
Panarch's
in arm.
annoying.
But they want her to be treated like a regular person.
Right.
They
I'm
leave
sure
with
she's
her
used to that her whole
and
life.
You're going to learn some lessons.
Flee to the Three Plums. To the Plums.
Not one, not two, but 3 plums.
Nynaeve requests that Baal Domon throw the collar into the deepest part of the sea.
Okay, not a great idea.
I mean, let's just think about that for a second.
I do know the deepest part. First of all, how?
Well, I don't...
He uses oars to measure the depth.
I don't doubt Baal Domon's ability to do such a thing. My problem is, why would Nynaeve all of a sudden just entrust this to this guy? That's just weird.
Sure.
Does anybody else think that some whale is going to swallow this and spit it back up onto the shore at some point?
Well, no. What we know
down
from
the road?
Domon is that he would find out, oh, wait, this thing's worth a lot of money.
I be selling it on the black market.
I don't know if he's going to be selling...
But this is like,
that
this
sort
is
of
an
thing.
even worse decision than Loyal deciding not to take the 2 leaves.
I agree. It's at least as bad. Yeah.
There is no way this is going to turn out, oh, and then they dropped it into the sea and it was gone and no one's ever found it.
I just don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know what else they would do with it. But yeah, it just seems like a bad decision.
Break it!
Well, they
can't.
Can't.
Remember?
They can't.
Give it to Rand. He can break it.
Right.
Just tried to melt it.
Let's not have it anywhere in Rand's
No, you don't want
vicinity.
anywhere near Rand.
Some amazing channeling fish is going to show up at some point several books down the road. Like that.
Big fish.
Eric's going for like a Jonah moment.
Starkey
here.
from Starfish Tuna is gonna show up. Wait, it's not Starfish.
I'm sorry, did you just name names?
Starkissed Tuna.
Sunkissed Tuna.
Starkissed, yeah.
Is that really his name?
Yes.
His name is something
Starkey.
very similar to that. Yes.
Starkey from Starkissed Tuna is going to show
How
up.
much tuna are you eating?
I'm none. That guy was all over
I eat a
TV.
lot.
He's gonna show up with another fish in tow, and he's just gonna be
Shouldn't you
controlling
not
this
be eating a lot
channeling
of
fish.
tuna, Dave? I only eat fresh tuna
Yeah,
when
I eat
it's
that
still
too.
wiggling around.
So the deepest part of the ocean is called Isle Somera. So we're gonna trust Bail Domon to take it all the way there without deciding to put it into his own personal collection
Well, hey, at
or
least he
sell it
knows
on the
the
black
name.
market.
The name is
Oh
the
yeah,
start.
and well, it's funny because he said he was also like, "Hey, I used to have one of these,"
Right.
and then Elaine's like, "No, you didn't."
Yeah, I love,
Right.
I love it. Like he knows
Hey.
exactly what it looks like, and she knows he's a smuggler, and she knows he knows all sorts of crazy stuff.
Who thinks that this dude is gonna have a seal to the Dark One's prison in his boats?
No kidding.
I
That's
mean-
very
Is
true.
that logical?
How is anything with him not logical?
What are the greater chances that Bail Domon had one of these or that he's bragging about it and lying?
Definitely that.
Say,
I
when
go
do
for the
we have-
latter of the two. The women are headed back to Tarvalon. Do we think they're
Or
going to
Valen,
get
for
there?
that matter. The
Who
women-
would, I mean, they're going, I can't believe they're going, well, first of all, they're not going back there. We know that much.
We do.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to head that way.
Do you think that they're gonna walk into all the craziness that's gone on there in the last several days?
Oh well, I thought
I
you
don't
meant
know,
just
maybe.
they're headed back there. Like I thought you meant like.
Oh, they're headed back there.
Maybe they'll get there and be like, "We need to see what's happening," and then
Yeah, I
try to
If they do, they would
gather
The
information.
minute they got closer, they'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
bad
going
idea
into,
to be
yeah,
there.
I was Elaine. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near her.
They are in for a rude awakening. Hopefully somebody gives them the heads up before they get there.
Yeah,
Dave, what's that prong song?
Which one?
It's just a rude awakening.
Rude awakening. Yeah, exactly. They
Yeah.
would be in for a rude.
That's what
awakening.
it's called. It's called a rude awakening, Adam.
Or just
I know. I
rude
figured
awakening.
that out.
Yes.
What's
What after?
while you were singing it?
Yeah,
Another rude awakening?
I got the first word wrong though.
That's all right.
But you got to say prong song, so that was a
It
positive.
rhymes.
Chapter
Yeah, I missed my
56.
prong shirt.
Golden Eyes. Hey, Perrin writes to Fail. Dear Fail,
Dear Fail, sorry.
I'm going to die, but
you
you're going
later.
to live because I was sneaky.
Now we enter into Jordan's maudlin love stories.
I'm trying to write a poem to you, but these clumsy wolfen hands don't know how.
Yeah.
Love, Perrin.
Yeah. You are my one. You are my all. You are my everything.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Hey, I think he did a pretty darn good job with what he wrote.
He wrote a state song.
He
He wrote the state song for Louisiana,
He did
as we
so.
now know.
Yes, no. I think he did a good job with what he wrote out.
I think he did too, but it's more fun to make fun of him than it
It's-
is to admit that he did a good job.
It's a bit smooth.
Well, I mean,
smooth.
he thought he was gonna die, and he was like, "Guess what? Thanks
He's-
for last night."
He's. Are you sure it wasn't about last night?
yeah.
Probably would
Probably
be.
more that. Yes.
I mean,
If you're
he's
feeling a rash, it's
It
'cause
does
I slept
happen
with
to
some
everybody.
wolves. I slept next to
Isn't
some
a
wolves.
big deal. And yeah, it's like reversing Rachel's
Sorry,
line.
I have a little mange. He, he's known he was going to die for a while. I mean, he went
Very
there to
true.
die.
No matter where that guy goes, he's going to die, I think. So he could be writing that letter at any given point.
So he wraps up the letter and then does a little tour of the town, checking in on the peeps, making sure everybody's
I like how he's
cheery,
just walking around.
ready to fight the Trollocs and die. The children threaten to leave until Perrin promises to turn himself over to them.
If anyone else knows,
could
Bornhall
these-
has just all of a sudden become a raging drunk.
We observed
Well,
that before.
He was on his way
So
there. Now he's just sodded all the time.
We called him out for
Yeah.
being a drunk the first time he showed up. So you're
He's
saying
even
that
more
he's
into it.
right. You're saying he's more raging now than
yeah,
he was.
he's not even. I don't even think he's trying to
Well,
disguise
what
it
does he
anymore.
have to do in Emmons Field? They're not doing anything. He's just sitting there drinking.
Demon alcohol.
He should be out looking for. Yeah, exactly. I'll get you. He should be out looking for Ordeath is what he should be doing.
That's something the Emmons Fielders don't know.
I don't think he's
all their apple brandy is gone now
at this point.
The Emmons Fielders are going to go celebrate their victory over the Trollocs and discover that all their apple brandy is gone because Bornhold has consumed it all.
Yes.
So the children threaten to leave. They just make one awful decision after another. They are leaving this book with absolutely nothing good to say for themselves.
I mean,
by just saying that they're going to stay there and help them fight, and then they don't.
That's their only reason for being there.
But they sure watched the Village Green very well. They got their eye on that. It's not going anywhere.
So then
we are the Village Green, white cloaks that don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the pirates who don't.
So then the Trollocs attack. And then it's over.
And a great battle ensued.
A brief battle.
And fighting. And
a 45-minute battle with tens of thousands of Trollocs.
This happens.
Or just thousands of Trollocs.
But in these books.
Yes. It's the Robert Jordan battle.
It's good. It's tantric.
The good thing is it fits into a 30-minute sitcom. So the women fight in the battle. Everybody fights except the White Cloaks. And then the Watch Hill armies arrive, and the Devon Hill armies arrive, and that's why the battle is so fast, because the Trollocs get caught between two. It's a battle of two armies.
And the Fail arrives. Let's not forget that.
You skipped over a little bit with Verin, and the fact that she was talking to Perrin again, and she basically laid out, you're a very interesting study. If I could split myself into three, I'd be following you, Rand,
and
Matt around. And maybe even marry one of them.
Right.
Just so she could constantly study them.
And then Perrin was like, well, there's probably enough of you to split into three and follow each of us around.
But then after that, she says, you do not know what marrying Zareen Bashin means, do you?
Zarina Bashir, yeah, right.
Bashir.
And then again, just to throw it right back in there at the very end of this book, she says, when are you going to give this up for the hammer?
Bornhold, once again, has this little tantrum fest, little tantrum before he stomps out of the two rivers because he didn't get Perrin. So he stomps out of town all angry and fussy. Perrin has a point. You can't agree to participate and then not participate and expect somebody to hold up to their... What was he...
Yeah, it was a one-sided agreement. You can't do that.
Outnumbered. What does he think is going to happen? Parents going to be like, yeah, you're right. Well, I guess I'm going to die now.
I mean, in Bornhold's defense, he is using drunken wisdom. So,
is it. All of the mistakes he makes can be attributed to his alcoholism.
He's sauced, so of course it makes logical sense to him. And he's a zealot, and he's crazy, apparently.
No, he's just... He has only one thing on that's his real alcoholism, is his obsession with just finding him.
Finding Perrin.
He can't see, not finding him, but killing him, basically. Yeah. He can't see beyond anything other than that. So yeah, he's a petulant child.
And now he can't see beyond the end of a barrel. Tilted up in his face.
And Podden Fane is spoiled again. Podden Fane is becoming a bit of a comical character here. He can't do anything right.
He's pounding sand about it.
He's the old angry skinny guy stomping on the hill. You Two Rivers people, I've been foiled again.
No, that's actually the character from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Old Man Dithers.
Yeah, he's always at the end. He always
Drat
loses.
You kids!
I'm still a little confused about how he didn't just... He keeps talking about all of his plans and everything that he planned.
What a world!
Why didn't he...
World.
Like, he says...
What a girl and her dog.
He says he wants to scourge this place.
Yes.
Why didn't he just do it?
I say.
I mean, I'll say this much. For his plans failing, he still did a pretty good job of, murdering Perrin's entire family.
Right. Yes.
Sure, but he wanted the entire land burnt to the ground.
Chapter 57, a breaking in the Threefold Land. So finally, this caravan of Aiel arrive at Alcair Dal after much anticipation.
Many, many people.
And the Shaido are there waiting for them. And they're standing in between them and the gap there. And down there, also by the fair, Kylie and Asandra are having a staring contest. Their two respective men are trying to push them into their respective corners before the boxing match begins. The Tardad arrive in numbers far greater than the Shaido, and so they escort Rand through the mountain pass into Alcair Dal, the Golden Bowl.
Is that like the Golden Corral?
It's much
Slightly
better than the
different?
Golden Corral.
I've
And
never
it
been
won't
to
give
one of
you
those.
it won't give you the coronavirus. Couladin proclaims himself the Karakarn.
I mean, he does a pretty good job
Yeah.
of it.
I have tattoos. I am the
Yeah.
Karakarn.
Many questions about that.
Yeah.
Which are revealed later.
Hey, Kool-Aid Man, tell us about Raidien. Raidien proclaims that we will defeat everybody because we are the greatest race of people ever. And then Rand's like, hey, actually, it says exactly the opposite of that.
That was a watershed moment right there.
And then Kool-Aid Man goes, oh no.
Yeah. Oh, diggity dog, I'm wrong.
Rand challenges Couladin to reveal what he learned, and Couladin reveals he never
Nothing.
went there.
Yeah, he reveals his ignorance.
Rand tells what he learns, and then the clan chiefs declare that Rand is he who comes with the dawn.
Very,
Big moment.
very hesitantly.
And then Kool-Aid Man jumps off the stage and hurls the spear at Rand.
That seems to be like his thing.
That is deflected by Adolin.
He's a spear thrower.
He is.
He's like a
Did Adeline get hit pretty hard with that?
She deflects it.
deflects it with her buckler.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
parries it with her shield. And
Way
then
to
all
go.
hell breaks loose. Rand creates a storm. A bubble forms around Rand and Lanfear appears. So chapter 58, the traps of Raidien. Rand chases Asmodean to Raidien. Up those strange, weird stairs.
Up
Stair
the
traveling.
strange steps
And
that he
escapes.
seems
Tiny
to remember
mountains.
from before.
They both cling to the Terangriel because Asmodean finds it first, and then Rand gets there just in time, and then they have a tug of war of
Just
the power.
in time.
Exactly, yeah. And then Rand wins the tug of war, and
Asmodean pretty much loses everything.
and Asmodean gets chopped off from the Dark One. And then Rand looks around and realizes that the Avendasora tree has been on fire, mountains have been destroyed.
There's a giant lake.
At
There's
least
a
the
lake.
tree was pretty okay though.
The tree
Yeah.
seems to have survived. Mountains have been cut in half. There's no fog anymore over Raidien. A lot has changed.
Just a bit.
So then Lanfear shows up and says, oh, Asmodean, if it's not bad enough that you've lost your ties to the Dark One, I'm also going to shield you from the One Power.
For now. Like it's going to eventually fade though.
Right. It's like stitches.
Yeah.
We'll put them in now, and,
It'll dissolve.
60 days from now, it'll be gone.
And then everyone's going to be looking for you to kill you.
Well, yeah,
Because she's going to tell them.
which Rand is relying on in order to keep Asmodean tied to him. And then he says, Asmodean, I declare you Natail. And he returns back to Alcair Dal to learn that the Shaido and many other of the Aiel have left.
Does not bode well.
And that about sums it up, doesn't it?
And
Yeah.
that someone's getting beaten by the eel right now.
Yeah, what's her face is getting beaten.
With Sandra.
It's getting punished.
She
if
did,
Rand's
but yeah.
messenger doesn't get there in time, she'll be sent out of the waste with a water bag.
With 3 drops of water.
Right, exactly. All right, Adam. So what shook your willow?
J.M. Abara. So Perrin actually has living relatives. He thought his whole entire bloodline was wiped out.
Sorta. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
A
But at
cousin.
least there's someone still around there.
This could be a relative. We don't exactly know.
Well, the Ibara name lives on in the Two Rivers. That much is certain. What shook my willow this week was the conversation between Elaine and Amathera, which apparently pacified the heck out of Amathera. Because now a Panarch is dancing on bar tables at the Three Plums. Or whatever they have their little barmaids do.
I wonder how well she
or their
does that.
inn matrons.
I mean, well, she already got to start learning the songs.
That's
start
right.
learning the
She
body
knows-
songs.
She
in-
knows some good songs
on her tiptoes.
Yeah,
naked,
she had already
apparently.
known that.
about
It had
round
been
hips
whispered
and
about
breasts.
Yeah, and ships like
Tom had already
thighs or
known
something.
about that.
Yeah.
But she apparently, during the escape, tried to run off and get a hold of some of her Panarch's legion, and Elaine gave her a little talking to, and she was pretty docile from that point forward.
Yeah, I really would like.
Do you
to know
think
what
there were
was
any
said.
beatings involved there?
There may have been.
I think some beatings commenced.
some usage of the power.
So, Dave, what shook your willow?
Mine is that Rand can travel, and to me, this is probably the biggest reveal in any of the books we've read, with the exception of Rand being the Dragon Reborn. Because this is a game changer.
Because you need to clarify what you mean by travel.
He can open a space and time and go somewhere else a great distance away, it seems like instantaneously. To me, there's nothing bigger than that that's been discovered in any of these books, with the exception of Rand being the Dragon Reborn. I mean, this is unreal. He says he recalls doing it once before.
So I love this chase. He's chasing him up these stone steps that are just sort of floating in the air. So first of all, it's interesting to me that this traveling isn't linear. It's somehow
vertical,
perpendicular or vertical. Yeah, exactly.
But then it changes.
That it's vertical. That he has to run up to get to Radian. So he's running up these stairs, and then he finally sees Asmodean off to his left in the distance, and he's not running. He's just skimming. But it's just funny to me because it totally reminds me of a Bugs Bunny cartoon with Marvin Martian and the Martian and Bugs Bunny, where they're out in space and the two are zipping past each other on these
those little yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Rand sees Asmodean and was like, oh well, I can do that too, and turns his into a skiff, and then he's moving faster than Asmodean is. And he finally catches up with him, but Asmodean actually successfully walks through his door opening. Rand trips
he's throwing like all sorts of crazy fire at him and like.
Right.
He felt that pull.
They have a weird little skiff war there. And then Rand gets through the door and has his boot heel cut off, and then has to limp back to Alcair Dal.
You're right, Adam. He has to use the power to do this.
Lanfear is back. So let's do a little Selene Stealer here.
She's better than before.
Hey, Lanfear was the fat one this time around.
Yeah.
Rand did not see that coming.
No.
I mean, she had a voice that kept getting described as super, super sweet.
Yeah.
But so did Ascendra, so.
Yeah, but she looked good.
I don't think we said much about Ascendra's voice.
No, they did. I'm sure as a device. So
as a disguise?
Right.
Well, I mean, I think Kylie was pretty well disguised. And Lanfear seemed to think so, too. Lanfear's plan was to bring Asmodean to Rand?
To teach him.
And she definitely seems to be working for Rand as well as Shayatan.
I would never say she's working for Rand. I would say she's working for herself. She's in love with... Well, no, there's a difference. You're in love with Lews Therin as opposed to serving Lews Therin.
I think that she's looking at Rand. I think she's looking at Rand to be able to realize that maybe the two of them together could take over.
Oh, she definitely seems to think that. I don't know what that's based on, but...
She was planning on bringing...
Magnets.
She was planning on bringing Asmodean along here, and then Rand started talking about his duty and fouled the whole thing up. She was like, if you hadn't talked so much about duty, he would have come along with things, but you convinced him that you were a lost cause, and now he's off chasing Terangriel and Rydien.
Well, it all ended up working out the way she wanted to anyhow.
Well, yeah, but Rand almost died in the process.
But he learned a new talent, which she probably doesn't want him to know.
We get another reiteration of the Forsaken here. We learn, that Samael is out there and envious, that Demandred is out there and hateful. That Ravine is out there seeking power, and I don't know that we'd heard the name Greyendal mentioned yet, and her pretty young men.
I don't recall Greyendal being mentioned.
So we were trying to figure out, like beforehand.
I thought we had mention of someone that kept people as pets.
That's possible.
Not a name, but somebody that kept people as pets.
A female? This seems to be a female. And we were trying to figure out the male-female balance and whether or not we knew everybody. And I feel like we got more information this time around. By the way, Lanfear mentions that female Terangriel that we see Rand sort of double back to get. And she mentions having seen one broken. We know where that one is because Egwene saw it in her dream in Tanchico. And she picked it up and had a conniption fit when she touched it. That's where that was, and that's the one. That's got to be the one that Lanfear is referencing because the one that Rand finds is intact. It's not broken.
Yeah, seems like
Asmodean also called her Marin.
Marin, right? Yep. Yeah. We get another we get confirmation of her name, which we we
get
didn't know
confirmation,
for sure.
but Rand also gets confirmation. Rand gets the real confirmation there.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Rand is let in on our little secret. So that's Lanfear.
But he has questions about it. She remembers him from she found the prison, in the Age of Legends, and had bored into it. And he's questioning: had she known what it was, and had she escaped? How in the world did she escape from this fire?
That.
And then when did she give him? When did she give herself over to him at that point? So,
right, he's wondering how the heck she survived that giant ball coming crashing down to Earth, because it was way up there, and then it explodes in black flames.
Well, I think there's only one answer. She's already allied with Shaitan, and that's Shaitan's work, so he's protecting her.
Yeah, that's what he's questioning.
That's a good argument.
Seems like that's the reality of what took place.
Yeah.
But this is very good. This is very new information. I mean, this is
for Rand,
very new information for Rand. Yeah,
be a lot to take in.
Yeah, he's learning.
And now he has this buddy Gleeman.
Now he has a teacher, so it'll be interesting to see what Rand learns moving forward.
A teacher who can't really channel much, though, so I don't know how that's going to work.
He's going to have to figure that out. I don't think.
Also,
I don't think Lanfear
really
would have allowed him to would have shielded him if she thought it was going to defeat his. She did say he could channel a little bit through that.
Yeah, touch.
And I think she even suggested that it was enough for him to at least teach Rand. So you don't want him to be able to actually do what he can do. The guy can obviously do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right. What were you saying, Adam?
Oh, I was just saying it's a teacher you can't trust.
Oh, no.
Right.
No.
But Rand knew
teacher
he was
if you're George Michael, you write songs about.
Rand knew he was going to end up with an unfaithful teacher.
Yeah,
he knew that was the only way he could really do it. So somebody that's not unfaithful is Perrin, stuck in the Two Rivers, trying to prep for this giant Trolloc attack. So let's do a little field prep.
We just keep setting you up, and you just keep hitting them out of the park there, Eric.
So
yes,
does anybody else?
That's a good W.C. Fields.
I don't want to fall. I want to fall.
Does anybody else feel that Perrin freeing Aiel from the Two Rivers is just a little elitist?
Wait, what?
No other women get to leave Emmons Field. Just the king's wife.
It's a bit of a power play, yeah.
Yeah, it's just what is.
Yes,
I get that he doesn't want his wife to be caught up, or what was his girlfriend at the time to be caught up in this huge attack that there's no way that any of them are going to survive from. But he doesn't give any of the other people the option to let their wives go.
No, that's shady at best.
Granted.
But no one else seems to care.
Most of those women would probably want to stay, but still, come on.
But they're all. I mean, didn't he was talking with someone about it, and she was perfectly fine with it with Mr. Salvier.
Yeah,
she's like, yeah, she's gone.
And obviously Fael didn't want to leave either.
I'm gonna stand by my man.
You still should give him the option.
She probably talked to Mr. Salvier about the fact that she wasn't going to go.
Probably.
I thought it was bogus. I thought it was.
Yeah,
I
think it is a bit.
I didn't actually think about it, but it is a bogus move.
But Perrin would never in a million years be able to. Like, I don't think he'd see that far out, because he's so besotted with Fael and everything about her that he is willing to make all sorts of horribly bad decisions just based on that woman alone.
I mean, it's one woman, but she seems to be very, very capable in a lot of ways. I think she would have been good to have there, and it ended up she was. So, Adam, let's talk a little bit more about the whole Verin, Perrin,
more rhyming
hammer and axe thing, because I don't get this anymore. I thought
Neither
for sure we had decided that the axe was the way for Perrin to go, that he needs to choose the axe because the Dark Ones want him to choose the hammer. We know that the Dark Ones want him to choose the hammer. So
this seems like she's encouraging him to go towards the hammer. Yeah. So are we supposed to not trust this woman still?
Well,
it certainly made me do a double take.
I can see why Verin would push him towards the hammer.
He's not getting hung up on anything. It's just that he chooses to attribute validity to that dark prophecy. You don't.
I don't know what to think about any prophecy anywhere, because as we've seen so far,
it's just something that keeps being brought up, and Verin keeps bringing it up.
I can see why Verin would bring it up. It makes logical sense. I don't know why the dark side is bringing up, but if I were Verin, I would want Perrin to have the hammer too. I wouldn't
agree,
want him to
but-
have just the axe.
But it's interesting
Why
that
would you
Verin
from
says
this
it because
from
she
her
knows
entire-
more than everybody else.
Because she does know more than everybody else.
So that would suggest that she also knows the significance of this choice, and if she's pushing
Which she
him,
read, by the way.
right? She read that prophecy. If she's pushing him toward this, that's highly suspicious to me. Is I'm not saying that she's a dark friend. I'm just saying we've been wondering about Verin all this time, and here's another thing that comes up that's on the other side of the scale versus all of the good that she's done. She's still just this weird, ambiguous character. So that's where the concern comes in.
I've been pro Verin for a long time here. I'm just saying, come at the
sounds
end
like a
of
drug.
this book.
Pro
Does sound
Verin.
like a drug.
Pro Verin.
Beware the side effects.
Right.
It
They'll
helps
make you
me.
suspicious.
This is what we're saying about Verin. Beware of the
With
side
my-
effects. The drug
it helps
does
me with
good,
my
but we're
stub
worried
foot.
about the side effects. It helps you with your club foot?
Yeah, it helps me with my
His
club
gout.
foot.
Helps him with his gout.
Thank you.
He's Benjamin
Glad
Franklin.
that was heard.
I mean, I get the
it's
suspicion.
It's just it's like I don't know, 40 pages from the end of the book, and then it's brought up again.
Right.
Hey, when are you going to give this up for the hammer?
Not quite what was said, but yes.
That is exactly what she said.
The other thing that Verin mentions is the whole Zarina Bashir thing.
Or
So what do we know? I mean, is this just the whole she's the daughter of of royalty again?
I think
cropping
that-
its head, and Verin doesn't know. Perrin knows.
No, I think she knows he knows. I think it's more the simple, he doesn't understand what that means. He
How does
doesn't
she
understand
know
what
this
it means to be married to royalty.
There's a whole lot of looking down the noses of the educated at the Emmons Fielders going on here.
No,
There is.
I don't even.
From
I don't even
all
think
sides.
it's. I don't even think it's that. I think it's he's never been in a court, and he does not understand what that is.
She says it because there's something else that's about to be revealed that she doesn't think he understands. And she says it as if there's some significance with this other than just the fact that he's in for marital trouble.
She says that specifically when she's talking about the hammer.
Okay.
Verin doesn't say that much. And when she
True,
says
she
something,
doesn't.
it's either information that you're learning about history, or it's her guiding a chessboard.
If you can tie that into some sort of way that you see this being significant for the plot of this story, that's what Verin is hinting at.
Well, that all depends on if we're going to meet Zareen's family.
I would imagine we are.
Then I think it's going to be a huge deal because he's got to be accepted by her father. He's got to be accepted by the queen. He's got to be accepted by all sorts of people.
I hope that that's not it.
I really
mean,
hope this is not part of the book
Right.
where he's going to be stumbling around.
Well, I really hope
frickin-
sappy love stories aren't part of the
Right.
book, but they're in there. So,
Right.
I mean,
but the less I could get of this domestic stuff, the better off we'd be. The other thing that I
just
see
feel
being
like Verin-
significant is that it's a story of the borderlands. So they are on the frontier. Saldea is one of the nations on the on the border with the Blight.
well, right, with like Faldara. But what does that what would that have to do with what she's saying?
Well, now he's aligned with one of the families that's right there. Where if there was going to be an attack coming in, that's where it would come in from. So that can have something to do with Tarmangite. He is now related with some of the first people that could fight that. He could be drawn there. That could draw him to that battle.
Whatever that is.
Verin seems to know like treacle tart bits of the future.
Right.
Anyhow, let's get beyond Verin.
Fane has some plans for the Two Rivers now that these plans have been foiled that somehow involve Manetheren.
I don't know what to think with this guy.
He's grasping at straws.
Neither
at this
do I,
point,
because
isn't
his
he?
plans haven't worked.
But his overall plan hasn't worked, but his underplots sure work very well. He's murdering people. He doesn't think he's scoured.
Chaos?
He doesn't.
That's
Well, yeah,
true.
he doesn't think he's scoured the Two Rivers, but a whole lot of Two Rivers people are dead.
How many do you think are dead? I would like to know. First of all,
Quite a few.
How many
it
do you
seems.
think? How many do you think was the population of the Two Rivers? Okay, so let's put a hard.
Let's say there are 20 farms.
Just put a hard number at 500 in Emmons
Okay.
Field. How many?
500 in Emmons Field? Okay.
I'm just trying to lay down a number.
Okay, so if there are 500,
how many of the 500 do you think were killed
in 45 minutes?
50?
So 10%
out of 5,000 Trollocs coming to attack you.
If you're Pod and Fane and you've only killed 10%, do you think that I mean, would you consider that a success?
No, my whole point was, and I said this very specifically, his master
isn't
plan
anywhere
hasn't
close
worked.
to
The
10%.
minor plan is still pretty. There's still a bunch of dead people.
From your perspective, from his perspective, if your goal is to raise the area and you've killed 10% of it, that's a pretty abysmal success rate. So we also learn he's got this Murdral, which he sure seemed to have taken from Esam's group, which apparently was not his. So we now know where that Murdral came from.
So he never really had any. It seems like he never really had any Trollocs or Murdral. He's just pilfered that one.
It doesn't seem that way because what he leaves with is a handful of White Cloaks and a Murdral.
Yeah, so he came in with nothing and he's leaving with something.
Right. I mean, we got
what happened to his Trollocs? Were they all killed?
Well, this is what we're saying.
We don't really think he ever had
might
any.
not have had any, because otherwise, wouldn't he be leaving with them? Right. Unless they did
so
all get killed.
It was just one other person.
I mean, once again, he can't take a whole group.
Yes. He would have to steal them.
And I don't think he can grab a whole group all at one time. I don't think he's that powerful. He'd have to get a Murdral or something with their Trollocs to follow him. It seemed like, for the most part, until he disappeared, Bornhall had him under eyes and ears, and then those people, whenever they would go on expeditions, were getting killed. So I don't know where he would stow these, Murdral and Trollocs.
Right, he would have to hide them because he's camped on the children's campsite. I mean, even if he's in that disgusting slum that he's created, he's still adjacent to their campsite. Now, don't forget, the beating of the Tinkers that he was doing and all that stuff was getting done off-site, so it is possible that he...
But I think he was doing that personally and or with these scummy White Cloaks.
Let's move into a little Slayer cake, and let's talk about this. And the reason I'm putting this under the Slayer cake topic is because, follow the logic here. Can we agree as a consensus that Slayer is Luke? Do we still feel pretty good about that?
I am 95% there.
I'm getting googly eyes from Dave.
Yes, I don't understand the physics.
Right. Yeah. I don't either.
No, me.
Well, actually, we've seen some of the physics. Luke kills Slayer in
either way, if Luke just ran out of town because he had a bellyache that he was covering up and he was running over people, that's real coincidental.
He was trying to get to Walgreens to get his Pepto.
I think we can all agree they are the same person. I just don't get how they're the same person. It's mind-boggling.
Right.
Me either. I'm confused. They look different at times too. Maybe, or maybe not.
We believe those two guys are the same. So then if we go back to the Dark Prophecy poem, the poem goes, Luke came to the mountains of doom. Esam waited in the high passes. The hunt is now begun. The shadow hounds now course and kill. One did live, one did die, but both are.
Well, we read that last week, and it seems like
it is a link to Luke and Esam. I don't know what, but they're mentioned within the same couple of lines of each other.
Yeah, but one's dead.
Right, yeah.
But they both are.
How does a dead person exist? I don't know. It is a bit contradictory, but it's supposed to be. It's
But
prophecy.
then all of a sudden you have a bunch of these Trollocs that are attacking, that are shouting out this person's name.
Right.
Right. So this is why I'm grouping these people together under this banner.
So
because
is the
they're
alive
shouting this
Luke
Esam game.
Esam? Does he have two names? Is he?
Oh, I don't know. We're just doing this under.
No idea.
It's just weird that they're mentioned together.
They both seem to be tied together. They're both in that prophecy,
and they're all in the same geography here. They're all in two rivers.
So, do we think the Slayer is Esam?
I don't know, because how would the Trollocs are in the dream world, and that's the only place we've seen Slayer if we're thinking Slayer's Esam, so that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe they have their weird cookpot Trollocy dream world.
Maybe.
There's a cookpot Trollocy dream world.
It's another
nested.
It's another area of Tel'aran'rhiod that we have not seen yet.
World.
Right.
Yeah.
It's filled with sugar plums.
Nothing
and
I want to be around.
No,
I'll
it
tell
would
you that
not
much.
be. It would be entrails
entrails and mud.
and diarrhea.
Ordith thinks that
And
Isam
then
played
Ordith,
into his hands.
yeah, Ordith claimed, Ordith talks about this character.
Yeah, he said, I mean, Isam had played into his hands. Why did the fool stop bringing in Trollocs? Well, we know the answer to that.
Yeah, because the Waygate got closed off.
Yeah, because Loyal finally wised up and busted the Waygate.
Yeah.
But they brought 3,000 at least Trollocs in.
Right.
And
Oh,
they
no, more
were-
than that.
And they were beaten off by, what do we say? Phrasing.
Never that.
45 minutes
They were...
of Emmons Fielders. They couldn't handle Emmons Field
They
for
couldn't
45
handle
minutes.
45 minutes of maybe 500 people was too many people.
Well, okay, remember, I mean, 500 on one side, it could have been another, it could have been another 250 on another and another 250.
Oh, cool. You haven't even
Watch
reached
Hill.
to a third of the amount of the Trollocs coming in.
Well, that's
Well,
the
remember-
amazing part of the pincer move, Adam.
Well,
you
and-
haven't studied your military history
But
well enough.
in all seriousness,
I am
in
being
terms-
not
serious.
doing-
and
Yeah,
the person defending always is going to have the advantage over the person attacking because they're coming at you.
but the bigger thing is they get caught in between two armies, and so it's
Well,
really
that's this last time that they get caught in between two armies. The
Right.
first time they did not. And that was 3,000 that attacked them.
well. Then this was more.
This was more than that. That's what I'm saying.
You're
Yep.
discounting the Two Rivers longbow, Adam.
Yeah, Adam.
And
No,
the
I'm being
amount of time
serious.
that they
I
had
mean, that
to
Two
make
Rivers
arrows.
longbow, these guys are supposed to
It
be
does
Robin
hit-
Hood.
it does hit
like
people
every one
at
of these
range.
people is like,
Well, they're not.
But
when you're-
not everybody was able to fire those things.
The other thing is Fane mentions that Isam is a man. So Isam
didn't
must
think
have
we
been
thought of it.
around.
well, if
We have
he's the
men
same,
that
if
are-
he's the same person as Slayer / Luke, I don't buy that. He has to be supernatural of some ability.
He's not
And remember, Ordith's crazy.
he's not a
so-
monster, he's not a Trolloc, he's not a Murdral, he's not a gray man. He's,
Okay, so he's
Do
not
we know
none
he's
of
not a
those
Forsaken?
things. We know
No.
because those are men and
Yeah.
women.
Yeah, so he could be that.
Yeah. He's a humanoid. I accept that explanation. Speaking of I accept, let's talk about our
Hey.
accepted here. Does anybody else feel like this is the first sincere apology that Nynaeve has given in these 4 books? She apologizes to Elaine after getting all huffy and angry with her. She gives her, or Egeanin, not Elaine, it's Egeanin. She's upset with Egeanin for being a Sean-chan, and she offers her a sincere apology, and I seem to be the only one that recalls this.
Yep.
She does. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think about if she'd ever apologized to anybody else before.
She's
sincerely.
apologized before, but it's always begrudgingly. This she seriously invests in. She meekens herself, if that's even a word,
She likes her too much.
and she honestly apologizes for the thoughts that she's had about her, before. The thoughts that she's had in her head.
Yeah, that might be a first.
It
I don't
felt
know.
very, very different. Felt really, really different than any other Nynaeve we've had
She's
before.
probably just tired from her battle.
She
with-
could, right? We could chalk it up to just
Moghedian.
exhaustion.
Yeah.
So the collar works like an Adam,
Similar to one, yeah.
but
like
Egeanin
multiple
says
people
it's,
can use it, or
yeah. Egeanin says it's not one though. It's because the
'Cause it's not-
metal
yeah.
is different.
yeah.
So it uses a different alloy for the bracelets and the collar.
It's not all of one.
And then we learned, Moghedian even explained, and I don't think we talked about this before, how it works, that it drains the person who's using it
As well, which is interesting.
and it conveys power over time also, so that you can't be using it for too long.
You got to share the wealth.
Right. Because we don't know that much about the Adam and the Suldam yet, and how much of that power, if any, conveys. We'll have to keep our eye out on that as we start to learn through Egeanin, and I would imagine she's going to be our conduit to this knowledge as to...
We're never going to see it again, Eric. It's being chucked into the bottom of an ocean. It's a dead topic.
No. We're going to... Well, the Sean-chan are going to be coming back, I would imagine, at some point soon.
Maybe they're going to chuck it over the edge of the boat, and the
The
Sean-chan is
Sean-chan are
going
going to get it. Be
Someone's
like,
skiff's going to come right
"Hey!"
underneath it. Doo-doo-doo.
right, yeah. Here's this Starkey guy, and he's offering us this weird collar and bracelets.
Yeah.
Nynaeve also doesn't trust the tower with the collar. So she's
doesn't
not willing to... She gives it to Domon because she doesn't want to give it back to Tarvalon.
That especially makes sense from her, but it does also make sense too. Good thing now.
Knowing what we know, right?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I don't want them to have it either.
I suppose that'd be a bigger surprise if it was coming from like, a Egwene.
Egwene would give it to the wise ones, and then the wise ones would bury it in the desert.
Right, and then Ravine or Asmodean would dig it up.
Yeah, not Ravine, yeah.
No, there'd be a big wind, and then it would just be revealed.
Right, but Lanfear would not be able to find
Young
it.
Conquin, who was walking down the way.
Someone would smell it with their big nose.
But Nynaeve seems to believe that she and Elaine differ on their view of the tower.
Well, they do.
That's interesting, is that she finds herself at odds with their sort of controlling political power with one of her best friends.
I think Nynaeve's lying to herself, for starters. I think,
yes.
Yep. She clearly wants to be an Aes Sedai, and she's trying to like delude herself as to why she wants to be one or doesn't want to be one. Where Elaine full on wants to be one. She wants to be one. She has no qualms about it.
So does Egwene.
So does Egwene. They may not like all of the decisions that they make or the way they handle things or do things, but they've accepted their role.
The other thing that we learn here, by the way, is that, remember at the very beginning, there was the decision of, hey, which is right? Mazrim Taim is going to get freed and declare himself a dragon, or this weird thing that can control Rand.
Yep.
No, they're both true. We know Mazrim Taim has been freed. He's been freed. He was out there in the plains somewhere on his way back to Tarvalon, and then he got freed.
Yeah, but
so it seems like Amika,
one being a plot of
It seems like both Amika and Joya were right.
Maybe.
Which would make sense, actually, because we know the way that the Dark Ones work is they each operate as separate cells. Yeah. So neither one knew what the other knew.
One may have just been happenstance, though. I mean, Mazrim Taim getting free might not have been the work of the Dark Friends. It might have just been bungling. We don't have enough information on that to be able to make a positive statement.
Well, we do know that one woman said that this was a plan of the Dark, was to free him, and then he got freed. Yeah. That much we know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that he's probably going to declare himself as a dragon in the next book, I'm guessing.
I have no idea. He already did it once. So I don't know if he's going to do it again. It wouldn't make much sense to do it again when we already have another dragon. He's got the people of the dragon behind him. He's got the prophecy behind him. That'd be really stupid.
When you're trying to thwart the good guys, you do some stupid things. All right, so let's wrap up these couple of chapters with our Alcara for the living. Rand seems to completely distrust Egwene now.
Well, she's a dirty Aes Sedai.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
He's becoming a little myopic here.
That's what I've been saying. He's like getting a little weird.
He's losing all his friends. I mean, Matt of Matt's own choice, but now he's choosing, he can't trust Egwene, won't trust Moiraine, doesn't trust anybody whose name ends in Ain.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't know what to think about Elaine with her 2 letters.
Right, yeah. Elaine 2 letters. That's her Native American name.
Exactly.
That would be the worst Native American name.
But I think there is an element of truth to that, because she's thrown her, whatever the phrase is, into a different camp than Rand's. She still obviously loves Rand and cares about it, but her allegiance, that's what I'm looking for, is elsewhere now. Her allegiance is to the Tower and to the Wise Ones. She's going to put those things first. And so I don't know how much that Rand could trust her. He needs to trust somebody.
Well, she has told him, and she's thought to herself, that she will not allow her allegiance to the Tower to get in the way of her treating, not gentling Rand, not putting herself in a situation where she would allow that to happen.
But when push comes to shove, she's still just an accepted. So how much of that could she actually do?
Right. She wouldn't be in a position where she would have to make that choice, first of all.
She is willful, so maybe she would be able to back. I don't know. Yes, I think it's becoming a trend with him. He's just starting to trust less and less people. He's relying more and more on himself and his own advice and his own insight and his own readings, and not listening to anybody. And that normally does not end well.
Who creates that bubble around Rand and Lanfear? So there's the fight that goes on at Raidian, and then all of a sudden Rand's in a bubble. It's raining. Rand's created a storm.
I thought he did.
You thought he did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought he did too, but it could have been Lanfear.
Could have been, but I don't think so.
Doesn't she appear after that?
Yeah, she appears after.
No, he turns around and there she is. Yeah, she's right there.
One never knows with her. She comes and goes out of nowhere.
Where she came from, because Kylie wasn't there, so she just appeared there.
She
could have
she had to
bubble.
pop in and find him.
She's like a bad cold. She comes out of nowhere.
She pops in. She's a bad friend. She's a pop-in friend.
I love, if you're a good enough friend, pop in any freaking time you want.
Well,
but
she's not.
Not if you're a Forsaken.
No, she's not. But she's able to use that power so well that she can just appear right there.
Yeah.
It could have been her popping that bubble. I don't know.
I feel like it was him. I have no concrete evidence to go on, but I feel like it was his own thing, though he probably didn't know how he did it.
No.
Because he's doing more of these things.
Nor does he probably know how he did any of this stuff, but it won't matter next time because he'll just do it.
He's starting to be able to remember some of these things that he did, which is good.
The last thing that I was kind of wondering in this segment was Moiraine makes the statement about people fighting for Rand. And he's like, I'm doing all the fighting. What do you mean? And she says, there are people fighting for you. I fight for you, as does Egwene. People fight for you who you don't know.
The world at
any
large.
more than they know you. Right. There's
and it seems like she's referring to Perrin a little bit.
Well, there's tons of people.
There's the layman on the road.
The world is eventually, it seems like going to be at war for him, and he's on this lone gunman journey where he just thinks he's all by himself and getting all weepy for him, sorry for himself.
It makes sense why Rand would be pulling back and dealing with this stuff on his own.
Well,
he feels completely alone because who else is this character other than him?
Sure.
No one else is ever going to be able to understand him. The only thing that he really does need is a teacher in terms of how to control his power. And the only way that he can get that is through using a dark friend.
Right. But we're not talking about what Rand can do or what Rand is responsible for doing. We're talking about other people supporting him. And what he fails to realize is that there are other people who are fighting this battle as well. They're not doing necessarily, and that's the ignorance. Is he thinks that the only battles are those that are part of prophecy and part of his journey.
See that.
Yeah, and it's an understandable trap to fall into, but when you have somebody who's around you who presents you with this argument, Moiraine has a really, really valid point, and it doesn't seem like Rand appreciates it whatsoever, which is really, really sad, because he's starting to just become a plot driver in this story. We're getting very little character development from him whatsoever. He's just something that drives the plot forward.
I think we're getting some character development with how he's treating Avienda.
Oh, okay. Fair. Yeah.
That's not fair. Here. That's not in these chapters.
In that chapter, Kool-Aid Man with his dragons.
What we do know is we know that Asmodean, a.k.a. Natail, was spending a ton of time with the Shaido, and that he was seen in an argument with Kylie. And I think that Couladin was there. That's as much as we know about the relationship between those three parties. I do suspect that Natail was involved in that because that's why we know that he was a Forsaken. And it would make sense that, it could also have been Lanfear, though. I mean, they both seem to be capable of doing this sort of thing. And they were both hanging out with the Shaido, though Natail was hanging out with them a lot more than Kylie was. She was hanging out with everybody in the guise of a merchant. Natail was remember, he went off and spent all that time with the Shaido just entertaining them, quote unquote. And he was no longer entertaining the Shardad or the Tardad. That's all the groundwork that I know that we can lay for the relationship between the two there. So what I'm comfortable saying at this point is it's highly suspicious And if I had to guess as to who did it, I would say it was Asmodean, but I don't think there is any direct evidence yet. That being said, your point is valid. They could only be put there by supernatural means. We know they didn't occur by Raidian, and the only supernatural being that we know that spent any time with them, or that we know spent an exceptional amount of time with them, was Natail. And we know that Natail is a terrible bard. So I doubt he was
I don't think terrible. He's just not up to the ability of, Tom. Well, the best.
His idea of the lay of Rand was to come up with the absolute worst ways that Rand could die.
Let's make this very sad. Come on, come with me. We'll talk about your future in the most bleak way possible.
You know what else is sad is your Coplin of the week. So who was your Coplin of the week this week, Adam?
Mine was already mentioned, and it's the fact that it's Elaine and her decision to just throw that into the deepest part of the sea.
Oh,
one of the most powerful.
I think that was Nynaeve.
Nynaeve. One of the most powerful objects that you probably could find. Just toss it into the ocean and be done with it.
So you think this is another loyal moment with the wave?
I think this is going to pop back up. Okay. So it's kind of a futures Coplin, but it really about
no. You don't like the decision
because I'm also going with the Coplin of a book. So I'm just going with the Coplin of the week for this.
You're standing up for the moment and saying, in the moment, I'm declaring this is a bad draft pick.
Horrible idea to do. Horrible idea.
My Coplin of the week was Asmodean. He battles Rand, the savior of the world. So for that, you get to be my Coplin of the week. Let's not kill the savior of the world. How about that? I don't like those guys. Who you got, Dave?
I am going with the Panarch.
The Lady Amathera.
Ooh, that's interesting.
She's
a trouble
annoying
causer
until she's put in her place. But I mean, she's whiny. She runs off. She's like trying to get her people, even though she's being rescued by these people. They save her from singing bawdy naked songs. But she's off trying to do her own thing because she knows best. And, well, now she's dancing on tables.
She doesn't want to have anything to do with Andric anymore. She thinks she's better than him now.
Right, yeah.
He raises her up to the Panarch for no real reason other than the fact that they're dating.
Yeah.
And now
she's a pretty big reason.
And now she's... it's not a reason to raise somebody.
What happened with him?
It's like co-humoring the spouse. Yeah.
Right. Well, no! Andric is married to somebody else!
Well, that doesn't matter in these lands, apparently.
Not in Tanchico.
Right.
All right, Amathera.
Yeah.
You were a pain in the butt. I mean, they're trying to leave. They're trying to get out of the palace.
She's messing up the process.
Which Balefire is bringing down to its foundation. And she's wandering around trying to grab guards and create a counterattack. Oh, boy. She did not level up. But who was your level up for the week, Dave?
Mine's a little weird, but I went with the women of Emond's Field.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the women of... I like it.
They stepped up big time.
Because the children did not.
Yeah, when the White Cloaks wouldn't do anything, they got into the thick of things. They got into the fray. I mean, the people were being hamstrung. But yeah, I mean...
boiling pots.
Matt's sisters were getting into the act, stabbing Trollocs, and yeah, they were a huge factor in that battle.
I'm here for the women of Emond's Field. That was a great choice.
That.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm all for that. Rand leveled up for me. I don't know if you noticed, but he was doing a lot of stuff with the power.
He did one or two things.
He traveled several city blocks down back to Raidian and fought a Forsaken. Nynaeve thinks she's all cool because she defeated a Forsaken. Rand has done it several times now.
It's like 4 or 5. I lose track.
He's creating storms in the sky, lakes where there wasn't any water, rain where there rain in the desert. I think those are pretty good reasons to level up.
It's kind of a big deal. People know him.
They like him. I'm not liking him so much, but
no.
Mine was a C word of the week, and that's Days Conger. I'm piggybacking off of David's.
Okay.
But the fact that she was the one that saw the White Cloaks, and the fact that they didn't do anything, and she brought it to the attention.
Yeah, she did bring that little
Imagine
nugget
Days Conger being a tattletale.
Right.
Who saw that coming?
In this case, in a good way, though.
Yes, in this case, in a good way. So that wraps up our conversation of these chapters. Let's talk about this book a little bit here. So if you were going to retitle this book, What would you retitle it? I'll start you guys off with a couple of ideas that I had.
There really should only be one with a giant exclamation point. Kablamchico. That should be the name of this book.
That would be a good title.
Yeah.
A lot happens in Tanchico.
You can't beat that. You can't beat that title. That's the title.
Not with the stick.
I like how Eric wanted to start it off, but Dave just nailed it.
I came in. I swooped in.
You did. I thought I needed to give you a hand, but you
I
came
stole
off the
that
top
thunder.
rope there. The first idea I had was waste of time. A lot happens in the waste. You're waiting and waiting. Rand keeps saying he's got these plans that are going to happen there, and you keep waiting for it to happen, and it doesn't until
I feel like we
the
got
very end.
many more books of this.
The other thought I had was Rand Wars. The waste feels like,
Storage Wars?
Tatooine. No, like Star Wars.
Star Wars, okay.
The waste feels like Tatooine, and Nynaeve and Elaine, I've already said, are C-3PO and R2-D2.
Droids.
Mine's a long day's journey into Reunion.
Well, it's a long pronunciation.
The name that we
Rudy.
can't pronounce correctly.
Yeah, mine's the best pronunciation, though. Let's be honest. And then also, how green was my Emmons Field?
Nice.
I love it.
And I think what has been mentioned before is what happens in Reunion does not stay in Reunion.
Right.
We did have that as a segment some time ago.
Yeah.
Love it. Love those. The last one that I'll end up with here is the man who would be king. Rand becomes head of the Aiel, and Perrin becomes the king of the Two Rivers.
It's not like you're a king,
very
Rand
true.
al'Thor.
So those are great.
The once and future king.
Right. I love all of those. So let's get into that with our winners and losers.
Yeah.
I will start us off with Rand.
Was he a winner or a loser?
These are our winners. These
Okay.
are our winners. I have Rand as a winner for this book.
Mm-hmm.
I got Matt, winner. I got Nynaeve, winner. Yeah?
We can stop saying that voice, but yeah. Mhm.
Nynaeve's, I mean, we get this is finally good Nynaeve. Like
Yeah.
after book upon book of just
Yep.
complaining, whiny, stick in the mud Nynaeve. We finally get some good Nynaeve here. Feel like she definitely wins in this book.
Fael's a win.
Definitely agree
Fael.
with that.
Winner.
People of Emmons Field, winners.
Yes, absolutely. Huge winners for sure.
Perrin, big, yeah.
Perrin.
Yeah, like you said, yeah.
Yeah.
King of Emmons Field, or King of Two Rivers now.
Lord of the Two Rivers.
People are offering him to be, the Lord of Watch Hill and
All
Devon Ride.
Elaine's going to be.
Dave, do you have any other winners other than that?
Loyal and Gaul?
Yeah, definitely
Loyal.
loyal. Perrin specifically says loyal. They might not be writing about the fact that you're a hero, but you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a huge hero, even though he really messed things up to begin with. And
Adam, not going to let the cheering section for Loyal get by without bringing that up.
don't want it to get too big. Don't want you to get too pompous in your choice for loyal. But remember when he totally ruined.
Remember when he allowed thousands of more Trollocs to enter into the Two Rivers?
It didn't matter. They got killed really easily.
I think Gaul is another winner. He backs Rand through all this crazy stuff with Couladin and the
Okay.
the stuff, and obviously
I'm still waiting to see what Gaul seems to have more in store for himself.
The Aiel Wise Ones.
The wise ones, yeah, big winners here. And I feel like because of that, Egwene is a winner because she's learning.
Absolutely.
Aegon and Doman, I think they're winners too.
I'm not sold on Aegon and don't know what's to come from her yet. She's leveled up for sure.
Yeah, my jury is still out on both of them.
Doman,
I know, Dave.
I know, Dave.
You're pro Doman, and the fact that he has come through. But he's
time.
also
he survived Tanchico and Falme.
No, I mean he came through in a way that he left at one point. So
he had to.
Sure, everybody else that was there kind of had to, but they didn't leave.
No, they died.
Other winners that I've got here. Do you have any to add in here, Adam?
Dies Conger.
Well, you've now pronounced her name 3 different ways in this episode. You said days, and then you just said
days.
Dies Damar.
Days, not dies.
The days are long, and the nights are too. Yeah, Bail Domon's voice is a winner for me.
Sure.
Other winners that I've got here: the High Lady Estanda.
Oh my word.
Winner. She gets to look over the Lord Tadosian as he and the High Lady Ultima
remember them
is off in Kyrien.
Yeah.
And then the Lady Amathera gets raised from just the mere nobility to the Panarch.
And then
but what's going to happen with her?
Well,
and now she's a barmaid.
Yeah.
So she rounded out my winners there.
Let's not forget Tom and Julin. Definitely winners.
I didn't put them in my winners circle because I feel like I'm still waiting. Like I feel like they were sidekicks in this book. And obviously
Tom got his
we know
mustaches tugged all the time.
They're capable of way more than that.
Kept getting knocked in the noggin too.
So I feel like this book had a lot more losers, which is appropriate for the Shadow Rising.
Very, very many losers.
So give me your losers.
The Aiel.
Yeah. Why so, Adam? Why were they your losers? I had them too.
I would have
because they have their entire history just ripped out underneath them in the last two chapters of this book.
They also now have the Aes Sedai meddling in their midst and possibly taking away female.
They have the Aes Sedai meddling in their midst, and then they have Couladin, who is obviously a loser.
Yes.
But they have him questioning the Aes Sedai. Every one of them has respect. It seemed like every other sept had respected.
Yep.
And then now he's trying to like pull in some sort of division there that he's going to call them witches.
Yeah.
So they're getting torn apart.
We got a couple of Forsaken here who are losers. Mogedian, Lanfear. Maybe not Lanfear.
I don't think
she doesn't really lose here, though. She is ticked. I mean, she feels like she tells Rand, "You blew it. You blew my plans. Thanks, buddy, guy." Muradin dies in Rydien. I'd say that's a loss. That's an L.
Yeah.
That's an L for the Shaido because now they're stuck with his brother Couladin.
Ugh.
I have Moiraine as a loser here.
I did too.
How?
She just disappears.
She's not mentioned. She's gone, and every time she's brought up, she's like, "Hey, Rand, you haven't talked to me."
Yeah, she's just tugging on Rand's shirt sleeves like a little kid. It's a major demotion for where she's been in the books leading up to this point.
Okay. I think that's my choice, but...
Yeah. Either way, I mean, yeah.
The past two books, she's been trying to just get Rand's attention.
She saw something, Adam.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I don't like the change, but yeah.
Remember Coen and Jory Dubai? Jin Dubai? The Wave Mistress? They're losers. Now they have the Aes Sedai knowing about their stuff too, and that they have channelers on their ships.
Probably the biggest losers of all are the Tinkers.
Yup.
Nope, not the biggest.
Ooh.
The Gen Aiel.
Who you got, Adam?
I mean, that is huge, but Swan got stilled.
and Lyanna, yeah.
Yeah.
So Swan, Lyanna, and the Tower.
Yes.
I think the biggest losers.
Oh, which means Elaida is one of our winners. Oh, we missed that one. Yeah, Elaida's a big winner. Elaida is a big winner.
What has she won, though?
She's
won a fragmented tower.
She's the head of a very corrupt, powerful political institute that she's probably going to be able to do she's going to go even farther than with her power. And then Couladin.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he loses big time. I've also got Elaine. She's a loser. Those two letters that she sent to Rand, and now she can't figure out. She regrets having sent one of them. She's not sure which one. It's just the two letters thing. It's Elaine two letters. We're back to that. Joya,
I think that's a good choice. That is a good choice because that keeps getting brought up over and over again.
Yes,
or it did at the beginning of the book.
Yeah,
and it didn't seem to do what it was meant to do.
No, we still don't know if Rand has read it, do we? Or read them? I don't think we know.
No, we don't. I mean,
right? We don't know. So that bomb may still be yet to drop.
I figured he just read them.
I've got Joya, Bair, and Amiko. They get killed. They are murdered in prison, and nobody can figure out how something got in and slit their throats. The Tyrant nobility.
Yeah, they lost. They lost.
Definitely.
Sunima,
sure.
Torian, Malin, Tadosian, the Lady Ultima. Yeah, you all lost.
Well, the interesting thing is someone in that group's going to have to win.
Well, I had a victory. I had the High Lady Estanta. I had her as a winner.
Yeah.
Barrelane, loser, paddled by Rourke. That's the last time we heard from her, right?
Yeah.
And you already said Sandra.
No, I didn't. Sandra, big
Seems
loser.
like she's a loser.
Yeah, she's in trouble.
Lanfear seems maybe like she might be a loser.
Lanfear seems in the middle, as she always does.
Yeah. But it also could be. She does seem in the middle.
Her plan didn't go right, but she still ended up with the result that she wanted.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, she did.
But she was looking at him differently than she had been looking at him ever since we've known her. It seemed like Rand looked at her and he saw a loss of control, which he had never seen before.
Oh,
she got
okay.
Nearly melted Asmodean's face.
So that wraps up The Shadow Rising. Join us for episode 37 when we will be covering the first 6 chapters of The Fires of Heaven and the prologue. So until then, may you rest in the Creator's hand.
May you know good hunting, young bull, and cheese to give you many cubs.
And let's toss the dice. I keep forgetting how to say the phrase, so I'm just going to say we're going to toss the dice.
It was you this episode.
I know, my brain's tired.